Okay, we're going to just talk through the worksheet that we've assigned you today, and this is introducing the Eightfold Path. So part of your summer exam will be on Buddhism, and therefore we're introducing you to lots of lists, and it's not by accident. In Buddhism, memorizing lists was very much part and parcel of becoming a monk. There were 227 rules you had to observe, and you needed to memorize them. But then there were 3 universal truths, 4 noble truths, and an eightfold path. And that's what we're looking at here. Buddha taught that life was to be found in the middle way. When he renounced the way of the ascetics, the 5 people who were kind of denying themselves all pleasures, there was a pupil who was learning music from his teacher. And the teacher said to him, if you tighten the string too tightly, it will snap. If you loosen it too much, it will not play. And the Buddha's life in the palace had been like a very loose, relaxed kind of life. And the life of the ascetic was everything was taught, and he was so hungry he couldn't even think and concentrate. So he devised thereafter to live in the middle way, a kind of balanced way. And the Noble Eightfold Path is very much part of this kind of balance. It's split into 3 sections. So wisdom, morality, and meditation. The Buddhist words for these are prajna, wisdom, sila, morality, and samadhi, meditation. So the first 2 are about wisdom. Having the right view, seeing the world in the right way. So if you think life's all about grasping and taking, that's the wrong way to think of life. If you think life is all about the ego, the self, that's the wrong way to think about life. So to understand life properly, you need to get the 3 universal truths and the 4 noble truths in your mind. You need to see that life is temporary, that it's something that is more about your deeds than your body, because everything's impermanent and suffering will be there throughout our lives. It's inescapable, but even life is not permanent. And with that in mind, it kind of frees you to focus on other people and on generosity and kindness. So that's part of the right view. Then there's the right thought. So the Buddha says that our kind of deeds and our actions follow our thoughts, like a cart follows a horse that's pulling it along. So, there's nothing good or bad except thinking makes it so. You can think your way into negative habits like greed, hatred, ignorance. These are the 3 poisons that the Buddha talked about. So we need all the time to discipline our thoughts, to control our thoughts, to have right intentions, and to be positive, optimistic about our thoughts. So that's having the right wisdom. Then there's right morality, a lot of emphasis on morality. So right speech, if you've got nothing kind and positive to say, then silence is a good approach. Don't be cruel in what you say. Try to make your words kind and positive and altruistic. Think about other people before yourselves. That's to do with speech. Be truthful. Don't lie, even when it's inconvenient and it's sometimes going to cost you. Tell the truth. And that gives confidence in everybody. We can all trust one another if there's truth. So right speech is very important. Right action is also important. Now there are 5 pansals, 5 commandments in a sense in Buddhism that everybody has to follow, and 10 that monks have to follow. They're not allowed to eat after midday. They're not supposed to carry money and so on. But for lay people, you're not supposed to kill, steal, and there are 5 of these rules that they set out So not engaging in sexual misconduct, and not to take life, even the life of an animal. They're vegetarian, of course. And with deeds of loving kindness, I purify my body. So to give away everything that's a moral action has a positive and a negative pole. So you could say, don't kill, but you could also say, be generous and kind, to work in healthcare, or to care for animals that are sick, and that would be a positive way of being generous and kind. So right action has to be carried out in lots of moral senses. Then there's getting a job that is wholesome and constructive. Gambling is out, selling drugs and alcohol is out. So doing a job that's positive and contributes to society is really important. And then right effort. So these last three are all about meditation. And Buddhists spend, Zen monks would spend 8 hours a day meditating. This is a big deal. What do you get from meditating? Well, you calm the mind. The Buddha said it's a bit like if you had this is a mug here, but if you had a glass and it had lots of kind of mud and muck in it, and you shook it up, then all the muck would kind of get moved around in it, and you wouldn't be able to see through the glass. But if you leave it sat down, then the heavy particles all fall to the bottom and you can see clearly through the glass. And so he says that when we calm our minds down, we can focus and see things clearly. You might get this experience when you're trying to remember something, and then you kind of leave that aside and just do something relaxing, like sitting out in the sun, and it pops into your head. That's because your mind is calm and things come more readily to your recollection. So 3 elements of meditation. First of all, right effort. This is to do with emphasizing the positive and eliminating the negative in our thoughts and in our life. And right effort begins with the self-discipline of meditation. If you can concentrate your mind, you can control your behavior. That's the belief. And disciplining the mind begins with this emphasizing the positive and refuting the negative. Right mindfulness is kind of moving towards a deeper level of meditation. So you would contemplate our feelings of impermanence and suffering. You notice that kind of ideas and distractions arise and fall away. Maybe you've got an itch when you're meditating, but you kind of realize that it arises and it falls. So right mindfulness is kind of moving from the emphasizing the positives and avoiding the negatives to kind of stilling the mind, gaining control over the mind. Shaolin monks who are doing kind of the martial arts will learn that you can control your mind, you can overcome pain, you can even slow down the heartbeat. They do exercise tremendous control over their behavior. So one example might be the ability to forgive, to kind of overcome emotions that are negative and emphasize instead generosity and kindness. And finally, right concentration. This is where you're really getting into intensive meditation and trying to eliminate negativity. The Buddha spent several hours on the night that he gained enlightenment, several watches of the night before he became enlightened and developed the third eye, in right concentration. So what you've got to do, very simply, is to get yourself a piece of paper, visualize all of these steps of the Eightfold Path in a way that will help you remember them. If you want a simple explanation, know the truth, say nothing to hurt others, practice meditation, control your thoughts, resist evil, free your mind of evil, work for the good of others, and respect life. That's the Eightfold Path. So you can see loads of teaching videos about this online, but what I want you to do is to kind of memorize it today. We're going to be doing something more on it in another lesson, but try for now to memorize it. I might I can't get Kahoot up at the moment. It doesn't seem to be running, but if I can get it up for tomorrow, I might put a Kahoot quiz on the Eightfold Path, and I'll then pop up the winners of that quiz in due course. But best of luck with